Hello and welcome to another tutorial with Manuscript Pen Company and myself, Lindsay from Copperplate Calligraphy. Today I'm going to be using this lovely calligraphy parchment paper. I'm going to use a straight pen holder and a Principal EF nib, all from Manuscript Pen Company. We're going to do Copperplate Calligraphy, and I find this paper and this nib it works perfectly for that because you want some nice fine hairlines. Want sort of a good nib to use for copperplate, and the paper is really smooth, so it makes writing in copperplate a lot easier. So any of the sort of pointed pen scripts like Spencerian and copperplate, this paper will work really well, including modern calligraphy. I wouldn't say it's a complete beginners, but it's definitely worth a try. I'll try to break it down and make it as easy as possible. This is going to be inspired by the Wuthering Heights. Obviously the film has come out this month, so I really hope you enjoy this. Okay, so I've just quickly rolled up some guidelines. This is going to be a very sort of loose, modern-ish copperplate. It's something that you can use if you want to dip your toe in to see if you enjoy the script or not. So we're not going to be completely evangelical to it, I just want you to enjoy it. So these are about 7mm high, and then we've got the 55-degree angle here that you can use with a protractor. Or you don't need to. Like I said, we're not going to be completely evangelical about this. We just want to learn aspects of the script. Okay, let's just have a little warm up and I'll show you what the difference is between my modern and copperplate. So, for example, if we were going to be doing an oval, to be honest, my ovals and copperplate are similar to my modern. So I start at sort of 2 o'clock, we go up over the top, pressure, release, go back the way to join it up. Sometimes doing them larger can be easier in this script, so it's completely up to you. I'm going to try to keep mine quite narrow and delicate, so this will be my oval. Okay, things like the compound curve are slightly different between my modern and copperplate. So my compound curve in modern calligraphy would look a bit like this, maybe like that, but in copperplate, it's slightly more exact, a bit more like this. We want these lines more parallel. Okay, things like the universal line of beauty, this shape. I want to practice a little bit, although I'm going to try to avoid too many complicated letters with that. So just keeping things slightly more exact. There are things like squaring off the tops and the bottoms, so where you sort of angle your nib slightly like this and you push out, and you've got the 2 pointy bits there that open. Let me just get rid of the ink. So the 2 pointy bits at the top of your pen, they're tines and they open, and you usually have squared off tops and bottoms for your copperplate, which means pushing your pen like this and then pushing down, so the left tine opens up. You can see that opening up, it drags the ink, and then you pull it down and then close the right tine. I find this kind of quite complicated. I think this messes up my copperplate quite a lot. So it's completely up to you whether you do this. So push down, across, pull down, and then across like that. And you can tidy it up afterwards. Or sometimes I would just taper my stroke in and do that instead. So things like, I don't know, the A would be this, tip across the left, down and out. Or if you prefer, I think that should be fine as well, but don't tell anybody. Okay, so here we go. Let's just get going with our quote. So it's an iconic quote between Heathcliff and Catherine, from obviously Wuthering Heights, written by Emily Bronte, and it is, "Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same." So we're going to go in with a little entrance stroke. Oh, make sure I'm on the page for you. Straight down. This is where you square it off the bottom, but I'm not going to worry too much. Go from here, compound curve, A. Now, if you haven't got a loop on your T, it doesn't go as high as a sender loop on the other one, so your T will be here. Oops. And then when you're coming out under turn loop, this is also parallel here, okay? And if you look at it, it is this part of an oval. So that's what we're kind of trying to achieve. I can move to the right of fraction. Got my curve. And then with the E, you would do a little, it's like this, stroke. But with a V and a W, it goes on this side here, okay? And up, same sort of pressure, down. And then we're just gonna make it simple. And then you can either have an entrance or leave it. Let's have an entrance. I'm gonna bring it in quite low. Okay, your S is going to go up like this, bring it down and around that shape, and then a little dot in the middle. And then you pick up the next part here. And again, when you're doing things like this, I'm doing this shape here, this shape here. This is also bottom part of an oval. So don't be afraid to go back up and tidy any bits up. Now you would hold the pen really similarly to how you would hold in modern calligraphy. Well, actually exactly. So you're holding it, I've gone a bit too far down, but a centimetre away from the end, like this. And you're kind of holding it at, you know, this sort of angle to the paper. Excuse my very ancient vintage desk. Oh look, I always do this. Ah. I'll go and correct that. I got entrance to the M, and I tend to do it in a couple of different parts. Up, down, back out again. I'm not going to put a loop on the D because it's taking up too much room there. Entrance to the O, out, connect that to the F, bring it down almost like a metallic F. See, I'm moving ever slightly to the right to join up, so like 0.5 millimetre. You can just see it there, zoom in. 0.5 millimetre, then you go around, and it kind of makes that connection. Now I managed to get it quite centralised, so I'm going to pop the rest here. Now let's just do a little flourish if we can. So I'm going to start with the H. I'm going to start with no pressure. Do this, then add pressure. Okay, and then what you do is then join the H from here, crossbar through the C. And I'm sure there's probably better ways to do the E, but I find this is the best way for me. There you go. Whatever our souls are made of. Oh look, I've messed that up. Are made of, his and mine are the same. Okay, so let's do it again one more time. This is why we warm up and write it a couple times. What I also want to do is I want to put a little bit of heather here, so let's practice that. So move this around. Because, you know, you find heather on the moors or on the moor. Okay, so I'm going to keep that as a very rough draft, let that dry and come back at it, and we can trace over it. The beauty of this paper is you can use it with a light box and trace over it again. Okay, so as you can see, I messed up a little bit. I got confused myself with hour and hour. And I also managed to put my finger in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to trace over it. I've got a lovely light pad. I'm using this great paper from Manuscript, which I love, for Copperplate. And we're just going to go back over all of our work again and get a really good composition here. So I'm going to start my W here. And you trace it, and as you're tracing it, take the same amount of time and care as you would when you are writing it normally. And now, because I messed it up a little bit, I'm just going to make sure that I can centralise this. By moving paper around. So here we go. I'm going to move it around now to adjust the composition. That around there. Just paying attention to those little tricksy ascenders and descenders. Okay. Bronte. And now let's just add our lovely little bits of heather in. So I'm just going to move my paper around. Have it so it's kind of upside down, really. It's a little bit easier. There we go. Let's do the stem. Make sure we've got the ink flowing. There's nothing worse than doing this and the stem not working. Just your ovals. This is really good for warming up, actually, I find. Move the paper around, get both sheets as you go. Try not to get your fingers in what you've just done, like I always seem to do. Just going to move it on this way. There we go. And just put floral aspects of it. Little flowers that are coming out of the holly, and then if you do any of my workshops with me online, you'll know that I do like a couple dots in my work. Just gives it a little bit of life. And there we go. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. So I hope you enjoyed that little tutorial, dipping your toes into a bit of copperplate. Like I said, it's not completely formal, it's just getting used to it. There are some great copperplate teachers out there. There are some great videos on the Manuscript YouTube channel already that I recommend you having a look through. If you like this video, obviously there's lots of other tutorials that I've done. It'd be fantastic if you can like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.